Hello everyone. So in this video we'll be learning all about Salesforce. This course is called Salesforce Masterclass, where we'll be covering in two parts. First part will be Salesforce Masterclass 1.0, and here you will learn all these topics which are a bit of a point click tools and all the main topics which are often asked in the Salesforce exams, like governor limits, multi-tenant architecture, etc. And then we'll go to the Salesforce Masterclass 2.0, and in Salesforce Masterclass 2.0 we will cover the more detailed topics like Apex, Visual Force, SOQL, and all those coding and everything. Okay, so this masterclass is designed in a way so that you get an idea of almost everything, whatever is there in Salesforce. Okay, it's kind of a overview also, and also a guide for all those people who are appearing for the certifications and want to know what are the topics which are there. So this will be a good one. So let's begin. So I'm Prithvi Raj, and I have experience in Cognizant for almost 3 years now, and I have almost four certifications. I have four certifications, and that's what pretty much it about myself. Now let's go to the masterclass. Okay, so this is Salesforce Masterclass 1.0. So this is Salesforce Classic. Okay, what is Salesforce Classic? Salesforce Classic is actually it's actually the earlier UI which are often used today also sometimes, but this is the earlier version of the interface where you are working with Salesforce. Okay, so Salesforce Classic is the earlier version of the UI, or the Salesforce actually is a platform, and you have a look and feel of what it looks like, and you work on that. And this Salesforce Classic actually is the UI element, or the look and feel. Okay, so this was the earlier overview when you are logged in into a developer or something. So you get a view of like this. Okay, this is the Salesforce Classic. Now it's upgraded by Salesforce to Salesforce Lightning platform, and it actually looks like this. So it's actually a pretty UI which is now provided by Salesforce. So you can there will be an option, you can always switch back and forth between these two UI overviews. Okay, so UI elements. Okay, now this is org. Okay, so first of all, before starting, you will be required to set up a developer org. You can go to this URL provided over here, and you can get a free sign up, and you can have a look at what Salesforce looks like. Okay, so this is basically org. And what is an org? An org is actually you can say an app environment where everything whatever you do inside Salesforce resides inside that. Okay, so basically it's a collection of objects, classes, pages, Visual Force pages, records, anything whatever it's there, you can collectively call it as an org. Okay, so now we look into the developer console. So this is the place where you will be writing most of your code. Okay, you can also sometimes use the Visual Studio Code editor that comes with a extension pack of Salesforce, which you can use for lighting web development, etc. But most of the time you can use this developer console, which is provided out of the box in Salesforce. So you can write anything over here. Okay, you can write Apex, Visual Force, Lightning Web Components, Aura Components, SQL, anything, whatever is there, test classes, everything you can write over here. So this is the coding ground. Okay, now let's look at the setup. Okay, setup is the place where you will spend most of the time searching. Okay, so this is kind of a menu and you will get everything over here. And you will have this quick find box where you will be using this quick find box to search any of the things you are looking for inside the Salesforce org. So next comes objects. Okay, so what are objects in Salesforce? So objects actually is kind of like the database. Like in an application, you have the database where you have all the data, right? So in Salesforce, these are called objects. Okay, so you have some custom objects and some standard objects. Okay, we'll look into what is custom object and standard object in the next slide. But you can understand what objects are like. Objects are like the databases where you store the data, and fields are kind of the tables. Fields are kind of the table columns where you have actually the data. So objects can also be looked into as the tables. Okay, so basically it's actually the database, the data store where actually the data resides. Okay, so basically you can compare it to using with an application like this, that an object is like a table inside an application, inside a database, and the fields actually are the columns. Okay, so like this, that the objects are the tables and the fields are the column names of the table. Okay, so and records, you will heard this records. The records are the rows inside that, so you can think of it like this. So hope I made it clear by now. Okay, so this is what objects. Objects is the place where you store the data, and there are some objects like account object, lead object, these things. So we'll look into this in this slide. So what is standard objects? Standard objects are some out of the box objects which are provided by default within the Salesforce. Okay, so there are objects like account object, lead object, contact object, some of the objects, opportunities, and all these are provided by default within this Salesforce org. Okay, these are out of the box objects which are by default present in the Salesforce. You don't need to create them. So this is what standard objects are. Now let's look into the custom objects. Custom objects are like you have some you need to have some data inside your org which should have a different name, or which should have a different schema. For that you have this custom objects. Okay, so anything which is not provided out of the box by Salesforce, and you go ahead and create that, and that's custom object. Okay, so it's represented by like this. For the API name, you use this underscore C at the end. That's the API name. While you write SOQL or something, so use that name actually after. That's the way you write for referring to that object. Okay. Now let's look into the object relationship. Okay, so what are object relationships? In Salesforce, you will often see two kind of relationships. One is master detail relationship, and the other one is lookup relationship. Okay, so what is master detail relationship and what is lookup relationship? We'll look that in the next slide. But why do we require relationship? Let's say you have a property and a broker. Okay, so basically the two databases can be interlinked. Like let's say you have a a student library. Let's say for a library management system, you have a student database, student table, and you have the mm, basically you have two tables. Okay, so you have student table and you have this books table. Okay, and you just link them through one to one, one to many, whatever relationships. So in Salesforce, these relationships are basically two type of relationships which are there. One is master data relationship and other one is lookup relationship. Now master data relationship is a tightly coupled relationship. Okay, means when I say tightly coupled, it means that whenever the master is removed, that all the childs are lost. Okay, so basically let's say there is a property and there are offers. Okay, now let's say the owner of the house decides to remove that property from the data, from the table. Okay, they doesn't want to sell it anymore. So once the property is removed, every subsequent offers which are, or the bids which are placed for that property also gets removed. So that's what is a tightly coupled relationship. Okay, or lookup relationship, it's not tightly coupled. Okay, that means when the parent is removed, the childs remain there. Okay, but this kind of relationships you can see in the account and contact object relationship. This kind of relationships are actually loosely coupled, means you can look up anything from the parent regarding the child, etc. So basically it's also a lookup relationship. It's also you can for searching, etc. But you don't, it's not tightly coupled, means you don't delete, if one is deleted the other is lost. It's not like that. Okay, now let's look at the page layout. So what is the page layout? If you are aware, Salesforce you can customize anything, almost anything you can customize, you can move here and there. So this page layout is actually the place where you can arrange. Let's say in the contact tab, you go to the contact tab and you want this let's say the phone number to be somewhere else, and so you can just move it around, and you can just for all those designing things you can use this page layout. Page layout allows you to, means, drag and drop, and you can just play around and move stuff here and there. Okay, so next goes to object manager. Okay, so object manager is the place where you will get it's like the master, you can say it's like the database which has all the tables or the objects. Okay, so basically the object manager has all the objects inside it. Okay, so you can just go and look into, find any objects inside this object manager. So basically when you search for any object, first you type in that quick find box about the object manager, and then from there you search any object over there. Okay, next comes the metadata. So now what is metadata? As Salesforce provides you to customize almost anything inside that platform. Think about an application which is which allows almost anything to be customized inside it. How will Salesforce manage this entire thing from the back end? Okay, you are customizing everything in the here. Okay, so for this thing they have this metadata and the this this structure. But whatever is think about metadata like data about data. Okay, like you have the everything like the fields, the apex classes, whatever the data which are stored at the back end by Salesforce to manage this, all this data, like all these apex classes, all these visual force pages, all these objects. So you are creating all these objects, you are the apex classes, everything whatever you are creating, this gets managed by Salesforce, right? So how it is, so they are following this architecture where they have a metadata. So basically it's the data about the data which you are creating. So whatever you are creating within Salesforce, the data about that is termed as the metadata. I hope it's clear. Okay, now let's go to the multi-tenant architecture. So what is multi-tenant architecture? Now Salesforce is a cloud ecosystem, right? So basically there are multiple people who are using Salesforce. So think about it like this: there is a house, and the house has several rooms which are rented. People are renting everything. Okay, but one thing that's common, the house will share the common water supply, the house will share the common electricity. Okay, so it's in a similar way the Salesforce platform is shared by this users. Okay, so now think about it like this: the house owner has to manage that no one room uses most of the water, that other rooms are means like have a scanty supply of water. That doesn't make sense. So the it's the duty of the house owner. Now in this case the house owner is the Salesforce. So what Salesforce does is Salesforce has governor limits. So what governor limit is, it actually limits the um, uh, limits every user to a certain limit of, let's say, the water that they can use. Okay, so for in here the water is actually let's say the app, queries they can make, the calls they can have, apex calls, etc., everything which the mm, the user is using, there is a certain limit to it. Okay, so that they can make only this much calls, like for SQL queries they can fetch only 5,000 records, 50,000 records. Okay, so there is a certain limit up to which they can call, so that they don't disrupt other businesses. For this purpose there is governor limits. Now let's go to fields. As I have said, fields are actually, you can see it like this, the table and the column names. Okay, the table has these column names which are called fields, and you have this records which are placed in the rows of that table. Okay, so the fields are anything like account ID, contact name, phone number, whatever is there, these are the fields. Okay, now there is formula field. What is formula field? Formula field is actually like let's say you want to automatically calculate and populate a particular field based on the let's say the user has placed some date over there, and you are calculating the the number of days or something. For that means like you want to auto populate a field based on some other fields, and you have a particular formula for that calculation. So in such a scenario you have this formula fields. Okay, let's say a field has let's say let's say five books are there. Okay, and the user has already, the user has limit of five books he can lend, and the user has already lended two books. Okay, so there can be a field called formula field which can calculate that three books are remaining that the user can lend. So in such scenarios you can use this formula field which is provided out of the box, and there are some formulas which you can utilize using this tool which is provided by Salesforce, or you can write your own like coding only. You can write, you can check syntax, and you can just save it, and you can use that formula fields. Okay, uh, now let's look at validation rules. Okay, so what is validation rule? Let's say that a field has a particular criteria which it needs to be met before a user can save a record. So you, or else it will alert and message that such and such field must have this. For example, let's say email ID should have at the rate. So or else an alert will be shown. For in this case, in this slide you will see the account number should be 8 characters. So if it's less, it will already automatically show this alert message. For this kind of configurations you use this validation rules. Okay, now web to lead. Okay, now you get leads, but from where you will get? You need leads from obviously website. The data will come from a website to Salesforce, right? So how does this get is done by Salesforce? Okay, so there is a feature called web to lead. Okay, so what happens is we can configure on our end what are the fields that the form web to lead form will have, like first name, last name, phone number, whatever you configure, and then you can share that inside with the website team, or you can integrate inside that website, and you will have that form inside that website page, HTML page, and the data, instead of going into that application, you can put it inside the Salesforce ecosystem, and you can use that data inside your lead. So whenever someone registers in your website, the data comes directly into Salesforce, and then you can target the user using marketing campaigns or whatever the logic is. Okay, so it's like that, it's a integration tool through which you get the user data inside your Salesforce. Okay, now let's look into Chatter. What is Chatter? Chatter is actually kind of, let's say, Facebook, Twitter. It's a similar collaborative tool, like your Slack. It's a similar collaborative tool which is used to by the teams to chat, and you get an idea of what Chatter is. Okay, so basically it's a communication tool which is provided out of the box by Salesforce. Now let's look into roll up summary fields. Okay, what is roll up summary field? uh, in a master detail relationship, let's say you want to display a particular value in the master record based on the sum of the details which are there. Okay, so in such a case, or you want to find the maximum of all the details and you want to display that maximum value in the master record, in such scenarios you use this roll up summary field. Okay, what this does is uh, it will, let's say, there are some like values, and you add it to Salesforce will add automatically, and it will populate the sum inside the master record. You can see in this slide that there is this amounts in these opportunities, and Salesforce, since the master record sum of opportunities is automatically populated based on, since it's a roll up summary field, it gets automatically populated with the sum of the values of these opportunity amounts. Okay, so this is what a roll up summary field is. Okay, now let's this here I have also provided the steps, you can go through them. How to create a roll up summary field? It's basically anything, it's almost these steps you have to follow for fields, even if it's a master detail or lookup or anything, the steps remain almost nearly the same. You go to setup, open the object manager, open the account object, and then you have to click fields and relationships. You click a field, in this case it's roll up summary field. If it's a master detail relationship, you will click on master detail. If it's lookup, you click and then go next. You means customize and you save, and there you go. That is what how you create a roll up summary field. Okay, what is schema builder? Schema builder is actually a drag and drop UI interface which is provided by Salesforce out of the box, and you can use that to design the data model or the logic, or you can as well view the logic or the data model which is or the schema which is there inside your Salesforce. Like what kind of relationship does account object hold with contact object? So one to many, so this kind of things you can look. What are the fields, what kind of lookup, which are the lookup fields, which are the master detail relationship, everything for viewing as well as configuring, you can use this schema builder. Okay, this is also provided by Salesforce. Now workflow rules. Okay, this workflow rules and process builder which is coming next is actually the automation. Salesforce is known for automation. Okay, so basically this workflow rule and process builder, these are automation tools which are used within Salesforce to automate tasks. Okay, so let's say if whenever a record phone number is updated, the record should receive an email, okay, that your phone number is updated. How will this happen? For that you have this workflow rule. Now workflow rules, actually what it does is it will it has this thing that you have a particular criteria, and whenever that particular criteria is met, a rule will there will be a rule, and based on that rule there will be action which will take place. Okay, let's say whenever the field is created or updated, whatever, then if that meets a particular criteria, then it will send an email, or it will post to Chatter, whatever, means you get an idea. Means it's like a automation tool. You set it up, and whenever that particular criteria is met, it will trigger as something. Okay, that's what is workflow rule. Now process builder. Now what is process builder? Process builder is actually a drag and drop. You, if you are aware of marketing cloud, it's like journey builder only. Okay, so it's a drag and drop tool which you can use to automate tasks. Okay, that whenever a new something, let's say you a new opportunity is created, you will go through this path, etc. But we have workflow rule for it, then why do we need it? Okay, so this actually gives you multiple multiple flows you can create. This is not linear like workflow where you have a linear, if this criteria is met, this will but here you can have multiple if else conditions. Okay, let's say if this condition is met, you go in this direction, else you follow this and you have this immediate action. Okay, so you have you can this achieve these things using process builder. Okay, it's a point and click tool, and you can create that based on this. You can also call Apex classes using process builder. Okay, which you can't do in this workflow rule. So here I have provided a the difference between this workflow rule and process builder, which you can go through. So in workflow rule, as you can see, we can send an email, we can create a task, we can send an outbound message. The workflow is pretty limited, but in process builder you have this. You can call an Apex code, you can post to chatter, you can this you can almost do whatever you can do with workflow. Along with that, you can do some more things, like you can call Apex code, which will run once there certain criteria is fulfilled in the process. And you can do anything in Apex class, means it opens um, multitude of opportunity. You can almost write anything in Apex and you can just get it triggered from process builder. Okay, so by now we have come to this end of this masterclass session 1.0. So in 2.0 we will look into further details of what is Apex, what is Visualforce, what is Lightning Web Components, etc. Okay, and how we can deploy our codes from sandbox to production. Now what is chain set, we'll look at all into that in the next video. In this video, I hope it's clear. We have gone through, I will just go through a quick recap what we have learned so far. So basically, if you see, we have this we had this overview, what is an org, what is a developer console. I have also showed you how you can search using the quick find box, and there is objects, what are objects, there are custom objects, standard objects. Okay, what are the relationships you have, like master detail relationship, lookup relationship. Okay, so what is master detail relationship, I have covered that, but I just to give you a brief recap also. Master detail relationship is a tightly coupled relationship, lookup relationship is a loosely coupled relationship. Page layout is anything for drag and drop and customization of the tabs which are there in Salesforce. Object manager is the place where you get all the objects, metadata, how Salesforce manages the data about the data you have. Okay, multi-tenant architecture, how Salesforce manages everything so that no user feels that some other user is using too much. Governor limits, there is a certain limit which is put based on the multi-tenant architecture, so that no user there are some limits, so that no user actually uses too much of it. These two are kind of interrelated. Now we have fields. Fields, I have said, these are the column names of the table. Formula fields, these are used to auto calculate. Validation fields, these are used to show alert if something some criteria is not met. Web to lead, these are used for lead capture forms. Chatter is used for communication and collaboration. Roll up summary is used for sum, maximum, minimum from the details inside the master. Okay. uh, Schema builder, we have this drag and drop tool where you can configure and view the data model or the schema. Workflow rules are used for automating a process in a linear path, where you have this if such a criteria is met, then you have a rule, and based on that rule you have an action. In process builder, it's a bit more means a bit more functional than workflow, where you have this if this then that else if. So means it's a multi you have more features, you can call apex classes, etc. I have discussed that. So this is the difference which I have shared, and this is the end of Salesforce Masterclass 1.0. We will see you in the next video.